Okay, Phillip Souta, what do you make of that? It's going to cost us a lot of money, and we're getting a lot of bad regulation, which is actually hampering the UK economy.
Well, I think the idea that if we were not to be members of the EU, that we would somehow have a drastically, radically less regulation is a bit of an oversimplification. I mean, you look at the financial services legislation that has been pushed through Brussels over the last 5 to 10 years, and if you look at the UK government line, it's been broadly in favour of most of that regulation. And in fact, on a lot of the issues, the UK government tends to take a harder line than Brussels itself.
Okay, what about we're talking about the EU budget thing as well today. The biggest item on the EU budget, in the EU budget spending, is agricultural subsidies. This is basically rehashing the common agricultural policy again. Good for France, but not good for Britain.
Well, France likes the cap, Britain doesn't, but France also objects to the rebate. Every single country has its particular issue, which is why EU budget negotiations are traditionally the hardest fought negotiations in the EU, in the European Union. But I mean, if you look at it historically, in 1980, the EU budget was 75% cap. Now it's about 35 to 40%. Of course, the budget needs to be reformed. Ideally, we'd be cutting the budget, focusing it on infrastructure and research, but that may not be possible. It looks like a freeze is the best that we can get, but if we do get that, that's still a very tough settlement.
And a final thought, Stephen, better in than out.
Exactly, and I think the one thing that business doesn't like is uncertainty. So they want Europe to be more dynamic, but they don't want unnecessary disruptive change.
Phillip Souta, final thought?
I mean, I'd have to say, the only people that are half in, half out are Norway and Switzerland. There's this strange sort of Tea Party movement in the UK which feels that it's iconoclastic, but it doesn't really have the answers. The idea that we could somehow be access to the single market, making the rules, but picking and choosing which ones apply to us, I think is an idea that's for the birds.